Since the dawn of time, man has needed beverages. Man has needed food. Man has needed entertainment. You've come to the right place. You're listening to Pizza Beer Revolution. The podcast will not be televised. It'll be on the internet. Downloadable, but it won't be televised.
Hey! Sophisticated
podcast revolution. Now tell me something good. Oh yeah.
What's up, everybody? Pizza Beer Revolution. Mike Plano, Joe Maffei, Joe Gatto, and sitting in on the extravaganza continues, Mr. Adam Richman.
Yes, he is here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out, man.
Of course, this is amazing. I'm loving it here on Liberace's Mudroom.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, this is where he used to take off his sparkled boots.
Liberace's Mudroom. That is awesome, man.
Rhinestone boots.
Right? It was described on an episode ago as a fish tank, like you're sitting like a human fish tank, right, with no water.
It's super opulent. Like, I'm ready for, like, Gordon Gekko to come in and go, all right, guys, get out of here. I got to go break up a company or something.
I think to be around here.
It is crazy, right? This could
We
be
have
like,
a volunteer. like 6 hands went up in the room.
That's right, man.
This could be part of this set from that Rising Sun movie with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery.
Oh, my God.
Japanese businessman
Yes.
could be doing all kinds of
All
freaky
sorts
stuff.
of things. Right behind that wall.
That nooks and crannies, exactly. I really like it when you... I rob Cleveland.
Yeah. This is one of those rooms you have to put it back in the memory, like you know it's here.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need to use it at some time.
It is a pretty sexy room, though.
Yeah, I'm glad I remembered it. I'm glad I remembered it when you said we're going to have the extravaganza. I'm like, yeah, we could do it at my place. Ooh, we could do it upstairs.
Yeah. Now, this is our second year doing the Holiday Extravaganza. Last year we were at Raoul's in Soho. Are you familiar with it? You're a food guy from New York. Do you know Raoul's?
I know of Raoul's. I've never been, though.
Oh, you have to go.
Yeah, it's good
Really?
stuff.
I'm telling you, man.
What's the menu item of choice at Raoul's?
Well, if you can get it's French
Yeah,
cuisine.
they'll
And
let
it's upper scale, right?
Yeah.
But the menu has a secret. It's not on the menu, but it's the burger.
The burger.
And they only make 10, and you can only get it if you sit at the bar and ask for it.
See, that's awesome. The show that I had just recently taped for Travel is called Man. They titled it Man Finds Food, but it's about that secret off the menu.
Yeah.
Stuff.
best
Those
stuff.
are always the best. Gramercy Tavern does an off the menu burger as well. I love that stuff. 5 napkin burger. If you bring in a banana and you say you want the special sushi and you put the banana down, this banana is one of the ingredients in the sushi, but you have to bring your own banana, and like that's the
You're in the inn. That's nice.
It's crazy. It's funny. It's like 55 American restaurants, and it's airing in Australia now, of course. But I love that stuff. I'll go to Raoul's.
What's the craziest thing that you've found like off the menu?
Oh man, it was either if the restaurant was hidden or the menu was. So I would say in terms of hidden restaurants, there's this spot in Austin, Texas. So I love Austin, like major love affair with that city. So 6th Street is, they call it Dirty Six. It's like every bar, every drunk UT student.
It's insane the amount of drunks in that per capita.
Bananas. Bananas.
Yeah.
I was there like on a Halloween when they turned the clocks back, and it was just like I wrote about it actually. Like I saw like Sasquatch making out with Princess Leia, like funky dirty, like just fluid transfer kind of make out, and I was like, whoa.
Chewbacca's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, off of 6th, there's a place at the oldest firehouse in Austin. It's been converted to a youth hostel. But if you walk into the main room, there's like always in every youth hostel that one bookcase that's got like Connect 4 and like those faded books. Mm-hmm. If you push the whole bookcase to the right,
Come on.
there's like a passageway.
It's some like
and
Clue
you go
shit.
down that passageway, and it's this unbelievable bar, great cocktails, beautiful bar, and they make, again, off the menu sandwiches. There's one called the Lieutenant and one called the Captain. So they have charcuterie, but if you order it off the menu, they have certain sandwiches. The Lieutenant is sick. It's like boucheron cheese, sopressat, capicola, sun-dried tomato, oven-dried tomatoes that they make there in-house. And they do it in a toaster oven right behind the bar.
Oh, that's awesome.
With like balsamic. It's the sickest. So that's pretty awesome. And then
Did they make that place because all the kids in the youth hostel were hungry and wanted to get drunk, and they used to go behind the games? Like, that's an odd entryway.
honestly, it's more like for like the locals in the know. When we were doing location scouting, Bryan Cranston and Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad were there, and it's because it is, until I just came and fucked it up for them. But it's actually a really lovely spot in Austin where it's the state capital, it's a live music capital, and there's so many things. It's so saturated that to find places that people don't know about and little dishes that people don't know about is the coolest stuff in the world. So I would say that's pretty awesome in terms of hidden restaurant. In terms of a hidden dish, there's a place. It's called Phil's Last Stand in Chicago, in Ukrainian Village, right? So it's a hot dog stand in Ukrainian Village in Chicago, Illinois. But there's a shrimp po' boy. It's off the menu there, and they put like a cheese sauce, like that local Chicago fucking cheese sauce there. You know,
Yeah.
with great fried shrimp, amazing local bakery bread, and it's completely off the menu. And it's not like any shrimp po' boy. It's like their interpretation of it. So good. And so it just ended up being kind of cool because you're 100%. Like, you got to be in the know. There's a place in Nashville. You have to follow the chef on Twitter. He gives you a password for each dish, and you have to whisper it real close in your server's ear. And you feel like really jacked up. You're like, there's some HR stuff going on. They have an off-the-menu pimento cheeseburger called the Maverick Burger. So, like, for TV, they had me go, take my breath away. But then they make a liquid nitrogen ice cream soda that's off the menu. And if you want to order it, you have to whisper some other ungodly shit.
I love any liquid poured with nitrogen.
It's crazy. It's
awesome.
so sick. And they do it tableside. And those goo clusters with the peanuts and it's like a Nashville candy. It's like peanuts and chocolate and a little bit of caramel. They break it up, and he makes like bourbon vanilla ice cream. He makes it from scratch in the kitchen, in a bowl. It's crazy, with cream, with the starter and liquid nitrogen to freeze it, and just constantly whips it so it's like a custard, like like those old school Mr. Softy trucks.
Yeah.
That's killer.
And so,
Like the custards things in Seaside.
Exactly.
Custard,
We talked about this. I didn't realize that you guys were down Monmouth Way, and I worked at Shadow on stage on the Monmouth campus. So I know that.
Did you really?
Yeah, absolutely. I lived in West Long Branch and I did 3 plays out there. I lived like a mile from the beach.
That's my stomping ground, man. That's where I grew up.
Yeah.
We were laughing about it while you guys were taping the other show. I practiced the Jew craft, and I went to yeshiva here in Brooklyn, and all the hot Syrian Jewish girls always used to talk about going down to Deal.
Deal. That's right behind my house. Yeah.
And I never knew Deal, Deal, New Jersey, and I never saw pictures of Deal.
It's like 2 blocks.
And I never knew what it was, but I just knew that all the girls named like Nadine and Pamela and Shiri, they all went to Deal. And so when I got to West Long Branch, and like someone from Monmouth was like, and there's Daddy Warbucks' house. I mean, it's Woodrow Wilson's Summer White House. Yeah. And so, of course, I try to do the Albert Finney tap dance, fall on my ass, and like bounce on my spine all the way to the bottom, like ta-da, And they go, yeah, da-da-da-da. You should hang out in Deal is right there. And I was like, what?
Like a block away? It's the next town over, man.
Yeah.
Right? So before we get too much into it, we got to get to our staple here.
Hell yeah.
On pizza, right? Pizza and beer gets you in the room, but it's really all about the revolution of our guest, right?
Joey Gatto helped get me in the room. I have a love affair with this man and his colleagues, and I have a lot of respect. Like literally, I met Sal and Q walking on the street, taking my laundry back when they were going to see the Stones. And I stopped Sal and I went, hey, you guys are really terrific. I really love your show. And Sal kind of gives me like sort of like the, hey, thanks, man. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
I want to talk to you very much. Like not impolite, but just like, yeah, okay. And I was like, I'm on Man vs. Food. He's like, I thought I recognized. And we had a great conversation. Q's really into soccer as well. And so, yeah, anything for this guy.
No,
Nice,
thanks,
man.
Adam. I'm glad you came, man. Of course.
So let's talk. Let's kind of digress for a second and talk about how it all started.
Yeah.
How did you fall into? I called it food entertainment, really, right?
Yeah, totally.
But I guess you were acting in college as well. So it wasn't about the food first, or it was about the acting first.
You know what? Like I'm sure we all grew up in the city, regardless of borough, and especially like I'm 40 years old, so the notion of like Brooklyn being a place with like, as I say this while I'm fucking wearing a cardigan, but, of like the cardigan wearing hipster, I always say it's like the girlfriend named Chloe in a terry cloth dress and horn rimmed glasses who works for a graphic design firm making nonprofit glasses, every pair of glasses, 2 kids get pairs of glasses. But that Brooklyn, it's like you grew up kind of colorblind, and so you eat with your Italian friends, and you eat with your Chinese friends, and you eat with your German friends, or your Syrian friends, or whatever, and you like fall in love with food. And growing up in Brooklyn, I did. So yeah, I did TV when I was like 9. I did a TV show called Child's Play on CBS. You can see it on YouTube, and you'll see a little chubby lisping Adam Richman. And so I did this show, and I got into acting a little bit. And did it, but I was always into food and worked in the industry in some capacity since I was about 12 or 13 years old. And then, went away to college. I went to Emory in Atlanta, Georgia, and this girl broke my heart. And I bought one of those Moleskine blank notebooks.
Oh, yeah.
And I went to go write like kind of douchey college breakup poetry. And I used to just go on drives just because I love getting lost in Atlanta and finding new shit. And so I started writing this food journal. It was actually like almost like a diary entry, but it became about the food, and it was a much bigger thing. And I realized that food didn't just have to be like stuff on a menu or 2 pinches of salt and a cup of flour. Like it could be a story, it could be an adventure, it could be, you know what I mean? Like I walked in here and like you were like, no one ate the pen. Like, you know what I mean? We all have like there's a reaction we all have to food, and it can be something passionate and beautiful. So I started acting out of college, and I supported myself in the food industry and learned as much as I could, and then went away to grad school in 2000, and I went to Yale for my master's in acting, but again, I kept doing the food thing on the side, and signed with agents. And so when I was doing regional theater, you're making moderate income at best and trying to pocket whatever the hell you can if you can sublet back in New York. And I just would go to all these restaurants and keep augmenting this food journal. And I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, the journal started in college, and then I just kept it as this like database of where to take girls on dates. Of course, yeah. All the other dirty white baseball cap wearing frat boys weren't taking their come on, I'll take you to Ruth's Chris and throw a steak down your mouth. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I'm finding these beautiful like Vietnamese places in Chambly on Buford Highway, and these unbelievable like Latin places like of Venezuelan and El Salvadorian descent in Atlanta that people never knew existed. Right. Then it was like people like, hey, my folks are coming into town. Can you recommend something? I'm like, there's something in this. And so I just augment and take a menu and staple it in. Bullshit. I signed with agents coming out of grad school. And my commercial agents in 2008 they would send out these major breakdowns. Like, I don't know, Animal Planet looking for blonde, bilingual, Spanish-speaking scuba diver.
Yeah, I didn't get that part.
Tough to nail.
Seriously, if only I were blonde. But and so they put this thing out there, and my stepmom had given me a book. I'm not lying about this at all, and I'm not plugging it or nothing, but it helped me, called The Renaissance Soul, Life Design for People with Too Many Passions to Pick Just One. And I knew I had this food thing. I knew I had this entertainment thing, and I never saw a way to marry them. And there's an exercise in the book about a reverse flow chart. And sort of you do it, and you kind of arrive at what you could or should be doing. And it was having a food TV show. So I just launched myself at every opportunity I could with that as my pinpoint focus. And sure enough, a breakdown came through. Travel Channel looking for someone who knows regional food, likes to eat, doesn't mind like eating a lot on camera, has on-camera comportment. And at that point, this is a God's honest truth. So I came out of Yale in May of 2003. And my family was like, yeah, Yale degree. Shit, it's in drama. God damn it. Yeah. Mom got the sticker for her windshield and all that stuff. But, it's a very expensive education. It's not like you're going to Yale Law where, your first year out of school, you pay back all your loans and you're done. Like, I've got friends that are still getting crushed by the Sally Mae. Yeah. I ain't saying she a gold digger, but so, man, it was May of 2003, and I bought a loose leaf binder. And I made a 5-year plan like Stalin. And I put like a divider for each year. And I was like, I'm going to book a national commercial. I want to work at a Lord A regional theater. I want my SAG card by this year.
You did like The Secret, man. That's like The Secret.
Yeah. Is that I started
like basically
like
you put it out in the universe, and the law of attraction.
Dream boards.
Yeah, dream boards.
Well, that's
You know?
I mean, and
If you go back and look at that notebook right now, you've accomplished all of those things, right?
it's crazy. Almost 5 years to the day, Man vs. Food got picked up as a series. I swear to God, I was working at Madison Square Garden TV. I had been a logger, like for $7 a shift. So a shift, so you understand, could be 10 hours. Or it could be 4 hours. You could be covering a Liberty game, you know,
Yeah.
the WNBA game, or you could be covering the Westminster Dog Show. And then became an AP and worked my way up there. And I auditioned for Man vs. Food. And people were like, so did they just put like a bunch of food in a wheelbarrow? And they were like, here you go, fatty.
Eat away.
And you know, there was a woman named Barbara Barner was a casting director, and you had to bring in food and describe it. And so I brought this burrito from Rachel's La Taqueria on 7th Avenue in Brooklyn that did mole, and I knew like, oh, I could
Jabber about mole.
yammer and talk a bunch of crap.
I mean, who can't?
Right?
Don't get me started on mole, Joe.
I feel like I'm like the most boring part of the fucking podcast at this point. But anyway, so I did this, and I came in, and then she literally said to me, she goes, "Oh, where do you like eating around the country?" She's like, "Let's hear some recommendations."
Oh, that's a softball.
So I got a little bit,
Yeah.
like I got a little bit cocky, and I was like, pick a region. She goes, all right, you're a kid from Brooklyn. Tell me about the Midwest. I'm like the Inn on Coventry for lemon ricotta pancakes and Cleveland Isles buns in St. Paul.
Yeah.
The Juicy Lucy at Matt's Bar. And like I just went on and on and on and on and on. She's like, whoa, whoa. So then I ate and did the thing, had to do some like cue card reading, whatever. It was like a 6 or 7 round process. And the final screen tests were at Katz's Deli. You're talking about a softball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I did a ridiculous amount of research. My dad, may rest in peace, was an attorney, and he was like always about knowledge is power. So I got there the day before. I'm so freaking broke, dude. No way I could afford a sandwich. I go through, I interview everybody, and I bought a T-shirt with what little money. I'll never forget this. And I took it home. I cut the neck out of it. And then I spent $5 laundering it at this little laundromat on 5th Avenue in Brooklyn, not too far from where I live. So I came into the audition, and I had a black hoodie on, and I had this Katz's Deli T-shirt that looked now
old,
really
right?
old as shit.
Yeah.
They said they were going to have us do an intro read, which is essentially what I did for Man vs. Food at every single restaurant. So I rehearsed. They said you could just improv it, and I was like, I'm sure I could, but I won't, you know? And I just drilled that thing. So I came in there, and I knew facts that they didn't know. I'm like, so actually, Katz's Deli used to be across the street, but when the new subway line came, the city subsidized it. Now, if you look at the neon sign over my shoulder, you'll notice that it says Katz's That's All. Well, that's actually not their motto. Leon Katz was speaking to the neon dealer when he said, what do you want the sign to read? He said, Katz's That's All. And so on and so forth, talked about Tom Lehrer lyrics.
great.
So they were like, damn. So it was, it was Valentine's Day. And I said, this is the, I said, and they wanted to call the show Pig Out. And Man vs. Food was like literally about the 4th or 5th potential title. And it was the one I latched onto. So I said, today I'm going to attempt the double Reuben challenge. Reuben weighs da-da-da-da-da. If I can eat it in a half hour, da-da-da-da. I could picture it in a T-shirt and this, that, and the other. And I was just like, and I went right into the camera and I was like, it's Valentine's Day in the Lower East Side. It's a new Valentine's Day massacre. This is Man vs. Food. And I went, oh, and if you think I'm reading this off a cue card, or if I'm just a fan of Katz's, and I unzipped my shirt and I went, big fan. Flash forward to the final episode of season 1. Now, we had been bought for 10. They renewed for 8, and then by 13, they were like, let's just keep doing this shit. Yeah. By the end, 2 of the executives came, and they were telling me, they're like, we never told you about our casting process. So I said, Man vs. Food was actually developed for a different host, a guy who had done another show. And you kind of came out of the clear blue, whatever else. And they go, but man, that moment in your audition when you unzipped your hoodie and you showed the T-shirt, we're like, that's our guy.
Yeah.
And it's just about like that manifest destiny. Someone told me like luck is preparation meeting opportunity.
Oh, that's so true.
I like that.
It's so funny. After Jake was just on here and he was funny, I feel like the most boring. I feel like you're talking to L. Ron Hubbard or something like this. But it was this.
No, we love you, L. You're doing great.
No, this is no offense to any Scientologists maybe listening. I just feel very
I'm actually a Scientologist.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's true.
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that this is like a what I like to call the alien ant farm. You know what I mean? I believe that.
Wow.
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
reeled me,
Yeah,
got
okay.
it, and
Yeah,
I
okay.
saw the little wiggler.
Yeah,
and
that's it. You jump right in.
Got right
Tom
off. Thank
Cruise
you,
and I
Joey.
are tight.
Yeah.
we're tight.
But
I'll help you out.
I will say that there's been like little like funny bizarre moments that had like happened. And I'll tell you this: they told me they pitched it to Travel Channel on May 1st of 2008, and I didn't know how the process went. Like they're like, "Yeah, you got it," and I was like, "Sweet," and they're like, "Well, you got it provided there's a job to have."
Right, you got the
Right,
pot.
right.
Like,
So
yeah.
we got the teaser trailer. So whatever, we do this thing, and Matt Sharp, who is a dear friend, my now co-executive producer, and Dan Adler, they're like, yeah, we're going to D.C. May 1st to pitch at the Travel Channel. Listen, brother, if it doesn't work out with this, you've really blown us away. We want to do stuff with you if this doesn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I said, when will we know? He said, we'll probably know something by the end of the day. So I was understudying, at this time, I was understudying all the male roles at a show at Ellis Island called Taking a Chance on America, the Bela Lugosi Ellis Island story.
We should have
can't make
roundtabled that
this-
to guess on that.
Oh, it's amazing. I was size doubling for Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Rogen for all their Condé Nast shoots. So I would go and like wear clothes I could never possibly afford because I was sort of like a gent of size. And so I would do this, occasionally temping and waiting and cooking and this, that, and the other. So May 1st comes, I'm like waiting, and oh my goddamn, I'm going to be a success. And everyone at Yale who didn't believe in me and everyone this, I'm going to do this shit. And May 1st comes and goes, and I hear nothing. And so I go to the bar across the street from my house, and I get legless drunk, like just drown my sorrows. May 2nd, I wake up in my little basement apartment. I have my little flip phone, and I see the little message light blinking, and I listen to the message, and it's Matt Sharp going, "Hey, bro, it's Matt. I had your cell phone number wrong by 2 digits. Give me a call."
So he's
And
called the wrong person. You're getting drunk in the basement, like defeated
Because of a wrong number.
Because of 2 digits.
Done. And so then I call back, and I guess he had caller ID. So I call back, and it was his direct line, which he had never given me before. And he literally goes, "You ready to be a star, dude?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" He said, "We went in, we talked, showed the thing, and then the lights came up. He said, 'This is obviously a show. We'll take 10 episodes.'"
Wow,
and I
sure.
screamed, and then all of a sudden the hangover hit me, and the wall just dropped to my fucking knees.
That's great.
That's amazing.
That's life changing. That moment.
Well, not only I mean, that was a big turn in the industry. Like all that, that year or those years coming up, the whole food thing, food entertainment was born.
I was
right?
very lucky.
That was just the whole wave, right?
I caught the wave. You're 100% right, and I'm not.
Well, some could say you surfed the wave, you made the wave happen. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a big part. You're very successful in food and entertainment.
It means it means a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I got illegal cable when I lived in that basement, and I had 2 channels in addition to Court TV, and Food Network,
which is True TV, by the way. Court TV became True TV.
Court TV is True TV, home of Impractical Jokers.
Yeah, if you don't know it, we also were at Katz's Deli.
That's right.
I know, and you also did the Carnegie Deli one, which I was supposed to do. I remember Joey Fatone.
Joey Fatone showed up.
Had done it, and I remember Sal was like, "I'm so sorry we don't have wardrobe. Can you wear black pants and a white shirt?" And I remember something happened. I couldn't do it that day. I'm so bummed because I do mean it. I love that show so much. I think it's.
We'll get you, buddy.
It's so funny because I'll periodically like go to situations in my mind, like what would I do? I forget where I was just the other day, and I was thinking, oh my God, what if I had to take food off of people's plates?
Yeah.
And like, I can't imagine like.
That's funny because you're like, I can't wait to do that show. Yet you saw what Joey Fatone had to go through, and you're like, I can't wait to do it. Then you get there, you're like, God damn it, I have to do that. What the hell am I doing here, right?
But you know what I think is that's the appeal. It's like obviously they're all like Murr and Sal. Like they're all such funny guys. Q and Joey are so great, and like obviously they like each other. Obviously they relate, but it's the patter is so real that you know that the moment when it drops, the moment when I was at an event last night across from the Algonquin Hotel, and I remember one of your supermarket bits.
The Algonquin
you
Round
the
Table.
Algonquin Round Table.
Yeah.
And Murr had given you that as a suggestion, and you were on some other shit. And I remember he was like, Algonquin Round Table? Can we get back to that one? And you're like, you know what? Just take it.
Just take it. You can have
buy
it. You can have it.
So, I mean, I guess I like that. I like the fact that there's the gauntlet because there's not a lot of real moments on TV anymore,
Do any of you feel bad for the guy who got the calls that he should have got? This is Jake Van Wagner. I got picked up on this show. And
Call me back. You're going to be a star. I'm sorry. I thought the wrong number.
The sad thing is, like, Jake really got the job, but the guy had the last name spelled incorrectly. It was trying to catch him.
His email was at Jake.
He put 2 G's in it.
It's just so sad, right?
Yeah.
It just
Jeez.
almost happened. All right, so like with every guest, I like to play the sexy music and look into their eyes and get a little sexy.
Be careful.
Yeah,
Be careful. That Richman's a sexy son of a bitch.
You know what? But I made Jake Van Wagner pregnant. I'm just holding his hand. I have that power. Anyway, this is a game we like to play. It's called Top or Bottom. I'm going to give you 2 terms. It's a this or that, a yin or yang, or black or white. If those 2 things were in a relationship, which one will be on the top? Which one will be on the bottom? It's totally subjective, built around you, and we're going to round table it, starting with you. You ready to play?
Ready to play.
All right, top or bottom. Number 1, smell or taste?
Smell.
Smell on top.
Oh, yeah.
Why smell?
Smell is the most evocative memory-wise, and it's the one that lingers the longest.
Okay.
And if
That's why you always remember who farted.
and it's really bad when you can taste it.
That's called a double.
No, but also, the thing is, like, no matter how delicious certain dishes are, if they smell bad, when you bring them to your mouth, like, you can't do it. Like durian fruit, for example.
Durian fruit?
Yeah, Durian. In fact, in Singapore, you could actually get charged a $1,000 fine for even bringing one onto mass transit.
Oh, wow.
And the actual fruit is delicious.
Yeah, I go taste. There's nothing like taking that first bite of that something and just loving it. I love taste.
Joe Maffei?
definitely smell. I mean, women's hair, things that you smell in life can bring back memories.
Yeah.
And all kinds of insightful things. I mean, taste, I can't even get to taste without going through smell.
Yeah, you have me sold, Maffei. I was on the fence with what you guys were saying, but I think the fact that you could smell something and have a memory and an actual reaction to that, I don't really remember that with taste. Like, I don't taste something and go, oh, that reminds me of when I was a kid. It's the smell, right?
I'm also like a big cologne guy,
Yeah.
big into the health and beauty to the degree that you're like, really, Adam? Like, yeah, like I'm into that stuff. There was a cologne that was made, I believe it was made by like Adidas called Rookie, and it came like in a ball and whatever else. It was like the era of the Reggie bar. You
What
know?
does Rookie smell like?
Yeah, it
you know?
smells like inexperience and hope, soon to be dashed by guys wearing Brute and Royal Copenhagen.
What's that?
It smells like tightly closed ass.
Right. Well, speaking of sports, number 2, top or bottom, the New York Rangers or the Impractical Jokers? I hit you right in the mouth with
I'm gonna
that
say
one, right?
I'm gonna say not just because he's here. I'm gonna say Impractical
Okay.
Jokers because though I love, I love all the Ranger games I've gone to and I worked at the Garden and stuff. Hockey is not my number one sport by any stretch, and I do really love comedy, and I'm a big TV watcher and TV guy. So I'm gonna say Impractical. If ever the choice is watch an episode of Impractical Jokers, or watch a Ranger game, I'm always gonna watch these guys.
Nice.
Right on.
Truth.
Nice.
Joe Gatto.
Practical Jokers wins that face
Right?
off
Do you have
every
to even
day.
ask?
Every day, man. You know what? The Rangers, they can't make you laugh like we can.
Well, that's true. That's
They can
true.
make you cry, though.
They can make you cry.
They've made you cry many a
I'm
times,
sure
my
they
friend.
have. They have, right? Joe Maffei.
It's definitely Impractical Jokers. And as you know here, there are cameras on all of us, and each camera has a name. Mike, what is the name of my camera?
It's called Joe Cam.
No, it's not.
It's not?
It actually
It's called-
says Joe Cam.
That's his label, but on the internet, when you look at it,
yeah.
it's called Hockey
Hockey
Sock.
sucks.
Is it?
That's just because he's an asshole. You know what I mean? Now, I wrote this, and I didn't realize
This is
what
the toughest for you.
I didn't realize what a predicament I was putting myself into. I was, like, thinking about you guys, you know?
What is it?
Well, for me,
Well, first of all, you're employed by both.
I'm employed by both. I love both. So it's very difficult, but I think I'm going to shock the world here, and I'm going to say that Impractical Jokers is on top.
Really?
Wow. I mean, I
Shocked
love
me.
you, bro, right? It's like
Yeah, bud.
blood is thicker than water.
That's right, man.
Top or bottom, American the Edible or Man vs. Food Nation?
Oh, America the Edible. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, Man vs. Food Nation, I mean, I think it was a blast to do, and it was awesome watching people become, like, heroes in their hometown. That was the dopest thing for me in terms of, like, watching kids see their dads looked at as heroes by a bunch of strangers for doing nothing other than just, like, eating a spicy pizza or whatever, and just meeting really great people doing that. but I think it just sort of it ultimately paled in comparison to Man vs. Food. But America the Edible was my first book. It's my story, and I'm going to be a little bit maudlin, but I visited a kid who had brain cancer or whatever else, and he loved my book, and his mom would read it to him in chemo. And like just that alone, to know that it could reach people. And my mom was a teacher. My dad was a lawyer. Like to have written a book that's in the Library of Congress, that's huge for me. So America the Edible all day, every day.
America the Edible just because it's in the Library of Congress. How do you pick anything else? It's like it probably beats the Constitution for me at this point.
See, I almost want to go with that now after hearing that backstory.
I know, right?
You were gonna go the
I
other
was going
way?
to go with Man vs. Food because honestly, I remember watching the first episode ever
Wait,
of Man vs.
he
Food.
said Man vs. Food Nation. Yeah,
Oh,
he didn't
I
say
did.
Man vs. Food.
Pay attention. You have
sorry.
it written. in
Nation
front
is
of
where
you.
the locals were doing the challenges, not
Oh,
me.
because I remember you in that first one in Portland, and that just sold me on that whole chain.
So definitely America
I love
the Edible.
Portland. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. For
It's
me,
gotta be.
If it were Man vs. Food in America the Edible,
Yeah.
I'd obviously say Man vs. Food because that was a game changer. It gave
Yeah.
me,
There would have been no American
the
Edible
Edible.
without Man versus
without
Food.
question. Without question, I agree.
Right.
What came first, the chicken or the America?
That's right. I got to go with the
Chicken
book.
I ate in Man vs. Food.
That's right.
There you go. Let's go to the next top or bottom. Number 4, Austin or Nashville?
Austin.
Yeah.
Austin.
Wow.
Just like
Didn't
that.
even blink.
The first sentence I wrote of my book of America the Edible, available on Rodale Books. Thank you very much.
Makes a great gift.
I also, or nothing else, that makes a great coaster for 2 jumbo beverages. I actually recorded the audiobook for that, which was a
That's
freaking
funny.
blast. Austin, I wrote it in my book. I wrote, before you read further, dear reader, you need to know this about me. I love Austin, Texas. It is the best of Texas, in my opinion. It is the best of what the state can be. I love Austin so very much. And I love Nashville. I truly do, but Austin is the type of place I've actually looked into living more than once.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been to either, man. Now, I need
I've been
to
in
get-
both.
You have?
Nashville. Well, we filmed an episode in Austin. We filmed in Austin, which was fun. But Nashville has got a place in my heart because we performed at the Wild West Comedy Festival.
Right.
We're actually going back there in April of this year. Tickets on sale now.
That's Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn's
Yeah,
festival,
that's
right?
Vince Vaughn's festival, and it's the first time I met Vince Vaughn, who is a hero of mine. You know this.
Yeah.
Growing up, so
I have a pretty decent Vince Vaughn impression I discovered randomly.
you do.
Yeah, I have to, if I do the laugh, I can like. Yeah, I'm not sure, team player. Wait. I'm gonna go take you out and gotta get the. That's working out phenomenal, just phenomenal for me.
The laugh and phenomenal. Oh, good.
I don't know. I haven't done it in a while.
So I'm gonna have to go Nashville for the experience, but I did enjoy Austin a lot.
I have relatives who live in Austin. I've been to South by Southwest multiple times. I mean, music just comes up from the cracks in the sidewalk. Austin is the place.
It's magnificent.
I guess I'll just say Nashville for the music, you know?
Yeah.
And Nashville's actually a really, really fun town. Like, I spent a little more time there recently, and now they have, I explored, like, other neighborhoods, like the Gulch, and it's really an amazing place. There's a cat named Max Goldberg who I met out there who has a bunch of different types of restaurants. And there's a restaurant called City House in Nashville, which is it's literally a house. We actually filmed an episode of Man Finds Food there, like some great hidden food finds there. There's a place called Pepper Fire. There's a style of chicken there called Hot Chicken. Prince's is like the main spot. No, Nashville's amazing. That's a difficult one, but I never thought about living in Nashville the same way I thought about living in Austin.
I also made Sal Volcano laugh, one of the hardest he ever did in his life in Nashville.
He fell
Knocked
down?
his own-
He
He
fall
did
down?
fall down it was a real life fall down. There was a kid playing, you know how they play on the street for money, whatever. And there was this kid, he had to be like 12 years old, and his father was like behind him as he just played or whatever, and he had the case open in front of him, and we just started walking, and I just started to walk really funny and regally, and I locked eyes with him as he was singing, and I stood in front of him, and I peeled a $20 bill out, and I put it in his pocket, and I went shh, and I walked away from him. And Sal was like, "You're fucking nuts," and he's like, "You changed that kid's life forever." He's like, "I can make $20 just playing on the corner."
Can you just put it to bed for the world right now that when you make him laugh and he falls down, that shit's real?
That's 100%
Can
real.
you just lay it
People
to
know
bed?
that.
I know, man, but
We got a documentary coming out, and it's in the documentary, just he falls down multiple times.
Yeah.
He falls. He's a
Does
faller.
he go like he goes completely flat?
Yeah, and I got to be
I've
honest.
also made him throw up twice in his life from laughing, just laughing. He loses control.
It's one of the, from my perspective, it's one of the hardest things to film.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because we're
Drops out of frame.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we're locked into these monopods with these big cameras, and we're kind of on those behind-the-scenes shots. And there's a table with a television and wires everywhere, lights. So when he falls, man, not only dropping out of frame, you gotta move around everything,
gotta
and
get
you're
over.
knocking shit over. It's very difficult.
I remember the first time he fell on camera. He fell, and the cameraman behind us just was like he froze. He didn't know what to do. We're like, get him. Yeah. He hits the shit. He's not in good shape.
You see, I also like the small things you do. I remember one time, you were asking if he was book smart or street smart, and you're walking along. You went, "Hey, wait, give me your wallet." Yeah, you're book smart.
That's right.
It's like
Dope.
sometimes I think with a lot of comedy out there. I mean, look, my jokes are so freaking cheesy. I heard that was a college drinking game. That like you had to drink every time like I made a corny joke. I'm like, you'd be wasted by the time the credits were done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anytime I sweat, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
is it a Wednesday? You know what I mean? Whatever, dude. But I love like just the small little bits. Was it you who was saying that Sal like gets major ethnic like around like a pretty girl?
Oh yeah, he throws on his Latino
He
lover.
becomes he's Cuban, right?
Yeah, he's Cuban
And then he
and Puerto Rican. Yeah.
he brings that out a little
Oh,
bit.
he does. He's like, oh, come on. You know?
When he sees
Stop being so crazy.
you're a beautiful.
Stop throwing around bonitas. It's funny.
Oh, really? Ah, linda.
We have this long running joke that he always just has to mention it somehow. It is always forced that he's Latino in front of when a girl's pretty. Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's like Desi Arnaz.
Yes.
Right? That's like
I'm home.
Right? What is that? That's what he does?
He is. It's his thing.
My last one that I kind of skipped, but I do want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
You have to pick Brooklyn or Manhattan.
Brooklyn. Oh yeah, root to the fruit. That's who and what I am. That's what I'm about. My production company is called County of Kings. I mean, it made me who and what I am. I got mugged here. I got all my firsts. You know, I mean, first kiss was at summer camp. I grant you. But everything. First car I drove, lost my virginity. I got my big break here.
All the same week. It was a really big week.
It was really. My bar mitzvah was a major.
Too much for a day.
Yeah, Man vs. Food was just in development for like a good 27 years. Like, guys, come on already. But no, I mean, just Brooklyn. It's close to a quarter of the U.S. can trace. That used to be a third. I think it's about a quarter of the U.S. could trace their roots back to Brooklyn.
Same.
So I love it, and there are parts that are just unchanged, and that's what I think is so amazing. You go to Gravesend, you go down to parts of Borough Park, you go to Mill Basin, you go to Bergen Beach and Canarsie, where I used to live for quite a long time. I used to live in Starrett City. Like, there are places that are just pure Brooklyn. Like, if you go down Bedford Avenue or whatever else, you're down by Madison High School. Quentin Road is Quentin Road is Quentin Road. Like, Knapp Street is Knapp Street is Knapp Street. Like, I love the fact that now I say to someone in Los Angeles, I'm from Brooklyn, that's also from there, and they're like, all right, Brennan and Carr or Roland Roaster.
Wow, I can't believe I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah.
Brennan and Carr.
Yeah, my grandfather was an original bartender at Lundy's.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Really?
Yeah.
Lundy's on Emmons Avenue. I remember going there with my family. Like, the shore dinner was their big thing, and and now it's like a mini mall almost.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
really depressing.
With the Kenny Rogers Roasters right down the block.
And I got tattooed.
Now talk about delicious, guys. Make sure. I don't know if you've had
the Caesar wrap.
You should really need that Caesar wrap, the number
Caesar
4. And go for the combo because it really makes it economical.
But you know what's upsetting? Right down the street from Lundy's, they're closing the El Greco Diner.
Yeah.
They used to call it, very. That's another thing I love about being, a New Yorker is that you grow up, you know a little bit of Italian, you know a little bit of Yiddish, you know a little bit of Spanish. So when my friend's grandma would call me a testa dominque or an azu pep, I'm like, I knew it wasn't a good thing. You know what I mean? But then you hear schmuck and putz and this and that, whatever.
It's all inflection.
And
right?
Drek is like garbage. Some of our friends used to call the El Greco the El Dreco, but it was so good. Late night food, toasted ravioli, which I'll never.
Everybody's got a late night diner, right?
I mean,
Everybody got that. What was that? What was that shithole we used to go to eat by you? The Windmill?
Oh, what do you mean? Do you know about the windmill? You
course I
lived
do.
right there.
Of course I know
The Windmill. I used to
West
drive
Long
these.
Far
from a
I'd have to
diner.
drive a car full of drunks. Speaking of which, 2 are here.
He's
Yeah.
over
Where's
there.
Rob?
Rob's over there.
There's this one. These guys who used to go out and, I don't drink, so I was a designated driver, and it'd always be like, they'd be at Trade Winds, right? And
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah,
it's Windmill! And I'd have to drag him out of the windmill.
Windmill was
And then there's
experience,
always,
man.
isn't it so funny though when you're the DD or like, you know, you're not drinking for whatever reason, and usually if you're the DD, which is so funny because your friends are like, you know, it's like it's Caligula in 3/4 of the car, and then you're like sitting there, and just like, yeah, it's funny, it's great, so great, and like they're like hysterical and then there's like this sort of tacit, sort of implicit apology you make to the waiter with your eyes when your friends are ordering.
Oh, yeah.
For like, I want a tuna, I want two tuna melt, I want to put a tuna melt inside a tuna melt.
Doesn't he look like C-3PO?
He totally.
He does. Say it. Say it. I swear to
Oh
God.
my God! Look at our waiter. You're like the old guy from the Great Adventure commercial. Come on,
get on the bus. Let's finger bust
And then, like, there's like,
Oh my God, that was your jam.
And then there's that one sober friend that's just like, I'm sorry about that. I'll just have like.
Now, here's the problem, though. You're remembering who our sober friend was. He was worse than any of the drunks. Are you kidding me? He'd tongue down 90-year-old women.
True
I mean,
story.
come on,
Yeah.
man.
That's awesome. Yeah, my grandmother told me she still can't find her salamander.
Well played.
For years.
I love it. Connect the dots.
True love. When you find it, you hold on,
You know
boys.
what's going to be funny, though? You're going to be filming somewhere like in Mobile, Alabama or something like that. Walk past the pawn shop, and there's going to be this whole dookie rope with a salamander on it. You pick it up, it smells like Paco Rabanne. You'll know it's you. You're like, yes, it's mine. Oh. But yes, Brooklyn for me. I beg your pardon.
There you go.
No, that's great, man. Like, we're essentially from Brooklyn, you know?
Avenue T.
Avenue T. I don't
T
know.
and what?
Stillwell.
Really?
Avenue and Avenue T. Our grandparents,
Our mothers, our brothers, and they lived there.
So I grew up between Avenue T and Avenue U on a road called Homecrest,
So-
which is the equivalent of 12th and a half.
Same area?
So that's where the area now is called Homecrest or Gravesend. So the closest major intersection would be Avenue U and Coney Island Avenue.
Yeah.
Prince of Pizza, Lester's Clothing, City of Bargains, where I got all my G.I. Joe figures. And you've never lived till you've heard like an old Jewish guy complaining, like talking about the G.I. Joe figures by name. No, we haven't got a Snake Eyes. We've got 2 Storm Shadows. We've got a Gung Ho. We've got a Flint, a Lady J, and a Baroness.
Who knew that you were such a
I was a
connoisseur?
huge G.I. Joe.
All right, let me ask you this. Let me ask you
now.
this: top or bottom? Storm Shadow or Snake Eyes?
As an action figure, as a character.
As a character.
Snake Eyes.
Of course.
Snake Eyes.
Of
Snake
course.
Eyes is both Special Forces and Ninja and the reissue character. Yeah, it's okay. I didn't date a lot in high school.
So you were in that basement apartment. Is that what
No,
you're saying?
no. This boy was kid
2
artsy.
digits.
But he
2
had
digits.
he had the sword that went into his back. He had a wolf.
2-digit Richmond.
He did eat a wolf, dude.
He did have a wolf.
2-digit Richmond. That's what I'm going to start calling him.
2 digits.
Only off by
Right,
2
the guy was
digits.
off by 2 digits.
Oh, I thought I know where they were going. Like 2 fingers. I was
No.
I was like,
The call. We're going back to the call.
I was like, thank God, Jesus. Last time I heard 2 digits.
2 digits,
I was
that'd be
auditioning
tragic.
for Man vs. Food. That was the last part of the test. They were like, it's you.
You're in.
It's you.
Just
It's
in
like
the turkey.
Excalibur.
Oh man, that's great. I love your knowledge of G.I. Joe, man. I had every single one of those.
I was so into it. My friend Andrew Geller, his dad was a little more well off. He worked for. I'm sure we all have had them. Like if you ever go to an event and bought a T-shirt, Anvil was the brand name.
Yeah.
That his dad was one of the Mucky Mucks at Anvil, and he got the flag, the USS flag, the aircraft carrier.
So
Yeah,
great.
it's huge.
And they had a house in the Midwood area, so he had the attic, and it was his G.I. Joe thing, and he and his dad had even built a wrestling ring with, like, ropes and turnbuckles and felt and stuff. And it was, I mean, literally, it was like I would come over with my Dragonfly helicopter. I had my Blackbird. I thought it was cool. Then Andrew was like, oh, my God, I got the ones that actually, secrete blood when you shoot them with imaginary blood. I was like, I have the ones that change color.
Turn out the lights. He glows in the dark.
Totally. Andrew's like, yeah, did I mention my entire aircraft carrier? Nice helicopter. You could land it on my aircraft carrier.
Yeah, I had a friend who had that, man. It took up the entire basement.
Yep.
Like this table clearly would take up this table.
Absolutely. It was about the length
Amazing,
of this table.
amazing toy.
But
We had the attic on Harbor Road when we were growing up, and my sisters and I shared a playroom. And one half of it was like He-Man, and the other half was like the whole Barbie thing. But my sisters were older than me and picked on me a lot, and they lost their Ken, so they took my He-Man and made him Ken.
They turned him back into Prince Adam.
So he has
Which is so messed up that of all names, when he was sort of the namby-pamby wearing purple with like a little scared cat, his name was
Adam. There you go. Yep.
He's Prince Adam. And then he held aloft the sword and the whole jammy. But I was like, it's funny. So my mom is still friends with her college roommate, and her college roommate married her college sweetheart. So that husband and wife have always been in our life, and I call them Aunt Linda and Uncle Bob, and they're Irish Catholic, but they're still my aunt and uncle. Mm-hmm. They have 2 children, an older son, a younger daughter, and the son and I were obviously much closer, and they had a shared playroom. She had Barbie everything.
Right.
She had the dream house and the pool
pink
house
Corvette.
and the condo and the whole thing. Yeah. We had each gotten these Jeeps for Honimus, whatever, these like crazy Firefox, and they were big and they had like some power behind them. So, he would tease his sister. So I was like, oh, that's what you do when you have a sister? Okay, I'll do that too. And we started this all-out assault on the dream house. And Ken was coming down in that little white elevator. And Robbie goes, get him! And we shoot Jeeps just triangulated on Ken. And we just blasted him and the elevator shut off.
Nice.
And it was this, didn't have a sister, so I was unaccustomed to the delayed cry.
Yeah.
The sort of,
the whimper.
The whimper, the whimper before the break.
and it gets so loud so fast.
And then you get frozen. You don't know what the hell to do.
And then the word that chills your bones, Mom!
Oh, yeah, and you're
Got it.
dead.
Oh,
That's it.
Done.
I was like, why?
What do you think that Ken was thinking? He's like, I got a hot date tonight. Oh, shoot. What the fuck are these Jeeps?
I bought,
Relaxing
and I
song.
remember feeling bad, and then my mom was like, you have to go out and buy her a Ken, and I went and I got her, and I wish I didn't have any brain cells dedicated to this knowledge, but I got her a quick shave Ken.
Quick shave Ken. Break that down.
is-
I want to know what that is.
I know, yeah, it's like the Tom of Finland Ken, but he came with basically a brown magic marker and a little razor that was essentially like a
sponge,
squeegee or a
yeah.
sponge.
Yeah.
A dry erase,
And
like.
you could draw, and you would
right,
draw
right,
on
right.
a mustache, a beard. So naturally, we're like kids with there's no internet access, but
Yeah.
we're curious. So we were shaving all parts of Ken. We were
Quick
giving
pubes, Ken.
Quick fuse Ken.
Ken.
Brazilian Ken.
But it was just like all pube because there's no pagoda. So you're sitting there just laying in the thatch.
I love it. I love how the conversation just clearly went to Barbie.
Hey, sometimes you
Four
just get
guys,
that.
beer, just happens.
Four dudes talking about Barbies.
So
Like you do.
So when you came in first, our producer sat you down.
Yep.
We like to do with theatrical people, and we figured you were a little bit theatrical. We like to do a game called PBR Theatre.
Nice.
Some people, you might know it a little bit like
You're an
Mad
actor,
Libs, right?
Yeah,
I am.
So she asked you a couple questions. We took a scene that Joey and I talked about this. We all kind of congregated about it, and we thought, food, New York, funny, and the scene that came up, Gata, was.
The Goodfellas kitchen scene
Do you remember the scene?
Wait, the scene,
When
which
the-
one? Where he's
At the end.
At the end?
at the end.
Where he's like, I got some cutlets, and they're just perfect to fry up, and make sure you stir in the sauce. That
No,
one?
the one
no,
when
no,
they're
no.
in
Prison
prison.
kitchen.
Prison kitchen.
Prison
Prison
kitchen.
kitchen. He slices it thin.
Yeah.
He used to smoke up the joint something fierce, and the hacks used to die.
Yes.
But he made a
Yeah.
great steak.
Yes. Right. How many onions you put in the sauce? I didn't put too many
Don't put too many
onions.
onions in the sauce.
Okay.
You cut the garlic
That's
so
it.
thin so when it hit the oil, it would just disintegrate.
That's
So-
exactly right.
You got the red and the white. Let me see the red and the white.
Yeah. Right.
Lobster.
So we're gonna put you into that. You're gonna be Henry Hill. We're gonna play I'm
All
gonna
my
play
life.
Paulie. Joey's gonna be Vinny, and Joe's another character.
All my
But
life I
before
always
we,
wanna be a gangster.
that's it. Here's your chance. But before we do it, let's just kind of go over this real quick. A derogatory term towards women, and you said chicken head.
I figured that was the safest
That's
one.
a very safe one. We all appreciate it. That's what we call them, chicken heads, right? The second was a derogatory term towards men, and you said a breeder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love that term.
Yeah, there were a couple of really good friends of mine in grad school that were gay, and they would laugh about just how sort of. I mean, I'm unabashed about being like a straight guy, and there were like a lot of dudes, and I don't mean that in any kind of like oppressive or like kind of like gross way, but like there were a lot of dudes that would try to bro down with me and my friends, but then occasionally there were like some hardcore like feminine activists in my class, and whenever they'd be around, if you ever said, "Wow, she's hot," they'd be like, "Dudes, there are girls here, man." I'm like, you seriously? You were talking
Yeah.
about so-and-so's ass a second ago. And so like I always felt that was a little fake. So the joke was because I guess being like sort of defiantly hetero was like, my friend Jacob Bloomer would go, "Elle, you're such a breeder."
I love that term, man. The next one was we ask every single guests we've ever had, a cured meat that plays this game, and I promise you, nobody's ever said the same cured meat. Can you believe that?
I think that's kind of awesome. My mind reeled too. Like I was gonna
You don't
say
immediately go to
Iberico,
pepperoni, like pepperoni.
but I don't think of that as a cured meat.
You don't?
I don't. Like I think about like slice. Actually, the first thing I thought of was like Iberico, but then I was like,
Okay.
and then
I mean, that would have been
and then-
amazing.
so then I was like this, and then it just set me up, and so I came up with
Super sad.
Soprasad.
Of course.
And I just, again, like also I came in, I saw we have the little lovely cheese board over here on the dais. So I was like, oh yeah, Soprasad or Capicola, something like this probably was going to
It's not a party unless you got super sauce.
Never is what Grandpa always
Right? I mean, Joe, it's not a party in Joe Maffei's house unless there's eggplant rollatini. It's not a party here unless you get super sad. But that's another argument for another day. The most disgusting thing that you can imagine, and you said?
Mama June from
Honey Boo
Boo.
That's up there.
It is, man, right?
It's just gotta be, it's gotta be like,
Guys, it's not as bad as you think.
it's just gotta
She's got this lovely salamander necklace.
My friends laugh their asses off.
therapy is tippy top.
This is a throwaway, a podcast that spotlights the revolutions all around us. Pizza Beer Revolution. A sharp object, you said?
A pencil
A
compass.
pencil compass. That's fun. That's fun.
That
It's
is
really
true.
funny you said that because we ran through this a couple times and I chose pencil, and they
It was
kinda
that
looked at me.
needle.
Oh, the
funny.
needle's scary.
It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Why would they ever give students in Brooklyn one of those?
So you can stab your friends.
It was ridiculous. It's like, yeah, seriously. It's like, I know you've got raging hormones and you're starting to fight. So now let's give you something that has a 6-inch hyper sharp nail.
Oh, I also thought you meant because of the vandalism. Like you would carve any wood.
Oh, yeah.
Anything too. You know
Oh,
what
my
I mean?
God,
The desk,
totally.
everything.
The last one we asked you was a cartoon character, and you said Bugs Bunny.
Gotta go Bugs.
You went Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. I was a big fan of that Saturday morning. This is it.
Tonight's
Tonight's
the
the
night.
night. It's a hit. We'll hit the heights. Of all
dun,
the
dun,
heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it.
Yeah.
I loved that, and I loved. I will totally cop to loving Muppet Babies.
Oh yeah,
Muppet Babies.
So make your dreams come true.
Yeah.
Wah doody wah. Ooh.
Yeah.
See, I also do. I could do impressions of just about every Muppet, and they're better than my Vince Vaughn.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows?
That's a home run.
Yeah.
Oh, Kermie, my sweet.
That's not bad.
And then
You got an animal?
Animal dance.
Good one.
Waka waka waka. Phenomena. And then I was also a really big fan of Gonzo. Oh, Camilla, my beautiful chicken.
That's
And no one
great.
does a Gonzo.
No, Gonzo is Gonzo nowadays.
He is Gonzo.
It's not like Gonzo.
I know it's like it's tough out here for a weirdo.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so gentlemen, take a look at your scripts.
Got it.
Just
So
hand
I'm
out to
Johnny Dio. Got it. All right.
you. I don't have my one that I'm gonna need here to read my part. Did I give you 3 papers or 2?
That's okay, Paulie.
I might have given Adam too many. Sorry.
It should be 2 each.
Yeah, so I only have 1. So basically, if you take a look, Gatto, read who's playing who. I don't
Okay,
have
Dinner in Prison, the Goodfellas scene. Henry Hill will be played by Adam Richman. Thank you very much. Vinny will be played by Joe Maffei. I, Joe Gatto, will play Johnny Dio, and Mike Polano will be playing Paul.
in theory, Mike doesn't have a script in front of him, but we'll give it a shot anyway. All right, you guys ready?
Ready to do it?
This is PBR Theatre, starring Adam Richman as Henry Hill in The Sopranos. Nope. I'm sorry, in the
Goodfellas.
60%. I don't have it in front of me. In the Goodfellas prison cooking scene. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Waiting.
Action.
In prison, Pizza Beer Revolution was always a big thing. We had a pasta course, and then we had a breeder, a fish. Paulie did the prep work. He was doing the ear. I had this wonderful system for doing the garlic. He used the pencil compass, and he would slice it so thin that it would liquefy in the pan with just a little oil. It was a very good system. Vinny was in charge of the tomato sauce.
It's got that smell. I got 3 types of breeder in the sauce. Paulie,
What'd you put in there?
I got the veal, I got the beef.
Ah, good. You gotta have the blue vein flesh hammer.
That's the flavor.
I felt he used too many chicken heads, but it was still a very good sauce.
Vinny, don't put too many chicken heads in the sauce.
I didn't use too many chicken heads, Paulie. I put 3 small chicken heads. That's all I did.
3 chicken heads. How many cans of tomatoes?
2 cans. I put 2 big cans in there.
You don't need 3 chicken heads in there.
Johnny Dio did the breeder. We didn't have a broiler, so Johnny did everything in pans. They used to smell up the joint something awful, and the hacks used to die, but he still cooked up a great steak.
Vinny, how do you like yours?
Rare, medium rare.
Medium rare. An aristocrat.
I love that line. You know, when you think of prison, you get pictures in your mind of these old movies with rows and rows of guys behind bars. But it wasn't like that for Wise Guys. It really wasn't that bad, except that I miss Bugs Bunny. He was doing his time in Atlanta. I mean, everyone else in the joint was doing real time all mixed together, living like Darth Vader, but we lived alone. I mean, we owned the joint. Even the hacks we couldn't bribe would never rat on the guys that we did. Hey, sorry it took so long. That little skinny soprasada started to become a real pain in the ass.
We're going to need to do something about that little bastard.
That's okay. I took care of him.
Okay, boys, let's eat.
Let's eat.
Good job. That was good, right? You love that scene, right?
I love it. Let her do it, Henry. Let her do it. Let her do it. Janice Rossi is a whore. You have a whore living in your building.
There's a whore in your building.
It's so funny if you grow up here, like quoting. So there's like a brand of like peanuts that you can buy like at bodegas stuff called Bazzini. I kid you not. My friend and I, in the same day, text each other videos going, "It was Bazzini all along."
Yeah.
Like when you know these movies, it's so funny, and especially if you grew up in Brooklyn, like the place they burned down in the "Fuck You Pay Me" scene. That's Calero's on Coney Island Avenue. My mom taught at PS 209, which was across the street. And when I got my tonsils out, I went to the Carvel directly across the street from that Calero's. So you sit there, and there's these octagonal windows, and you're out there, and like that's when Joe Pesci's like asking him to date this girl. She don't want to date Italians. You know, that whole thing. So you see that thing. Guys quote that movie like all the time. So it's so great.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, you remember that sound?
Yeah, totally. Dial up.
Is that what it means to you? I always ask people.
I got mail.
You got mail. We like to talk about the armchair futurist. The year's 2050, right? And the revolution is all revolving around you.
Yeah.
So the year's 2050.
Like I'm the father of the revolution?
You're the father of the food entertainment revolution. What does it look like? You're sitting back in your lounger, your feet are up, you're looking at the food entertainment industry. The year's 2050. Break it down.
Well, things are looking rosy for the Adam Richman Network.
Very good.
I like it.
It's really interesting. There's just about no fine dining. There's one channel for fine dining. Some of it is just slow-mo shots of barbecue being cooked with porn music. Some is porn with barbecue sounds over it. Some are naked women making barbecue.
Yeah.
But there's the thing that I like about 2050 is that you don't actually have to go to these places anymore. It's like the Jetsons, so you can actually taste whatever you can try, including the porn, which is why smell is so important.
Of course.
So you could amp up the barbecue smell and turn down everything else, which I think is actually quite nice, regardless of what you're eating.
What's the it food of 2050? Like now, it's like kale or a fucking Brussels sprout.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man, 2050. It is so all about these protein blocks made from the humans that we deem unnecessary. But they are
Eat all the old people, right?
It's just they have such flavor. People have been just so sedentary in the information age. They're so well marbled. So they'll be like, okay, this is a blogger, and like you like do like a braised blogger with like cream
Like a Kobe
sauce.
beef.
Exactly. You could even eat like Kobe beef is actually Kobe Bryant that's been aged
Right.
since he died, and he's
How do you like your
cured.
How do you like your blogger?
How do I like my blogger or my Kobe?
An aristocrat.
Gotta have my breeder. It's breeder blocks. That's what they call them. They're called breeder blocks, basically.
Amazing. I can't wait for that world. Awesome to have you, buddy. Thank you so
my
much.
brother.
for
Yeah,
coming
man.
on.
Thank you so much for coming out. It's been a good
Of course,
time.
this has been a blast. Thank you.
On the way out, is there anything you want to plug? Your book, maybe, or
Yeah, so I have a brand new cookbook. My first cookbook is coming out in May. It's called Straight Up Tasty, Meals, Memories, and Mouthfuls from My Travels. It comes out May 12th. You could order it now. And that's it. And I guess if you're in Australia, watch Man Finds Food. And I'm on Twitter at Adam Richman and Instagram too.
all right, Joe Gatto.
I want everybody to get out there, put a positive message on Twitter right now.
Oh, I like that.
Put a positive message on Twitter so those kids know that there's positivity in the world.
Hashtag
Good idea.
positivity.
Hashtag positivity. Joe said so.
Positivity.
Joe said so. Hashtag positivity. Joe said so. Joe.
I got nothing to plug, but I'm saying keep watching. We got one more episode of the Pizza Beer Revolution Holiday Extravaganza.
You can find us on the web at pizzabeerrevolution.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Give us some love and we'll love you back. We'll see you on the next episode.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
man.
Adam,
Thank
buddy.
you, guys.
Salud.
Cheers,
buddy.
salud. Icky bread in the glass.
That's great, buddy.